Everyone is asking if the AI hype train is finally about to derail. Well, Nvidia just dropped their latest financial numbers, and they have a $57 billion answer for us. If you hold tech stocks or use AI tools, you need to hear where all this money is actually going. Nvidia just released a Q3 earnings report, and they completely blew past expectations with over $57 billion in revenue. This is headline news because Nvidia is a shovel seller in the AI gold rush. Their massive sales numbers prove that big tech isn't slowing down. In fact, companies are spending record amounts on chips to build their AI future. The report is effectively the industry saying the bubble isn't bursting. We are just getting started. What do you think about this, John?
Yeah. So this is crazy. And you were talking about they're spending unprecedented amounts. They're spending about $400 billion this year building AI infrastructure, and Nvidia is the primary beneficiary. Though there's a huge caveat here. Okay, critics are worrying that this resembles the dot-com bubble because a lot of the deals that are happening involve what's called circular financing. So what that means is Nvidia invests billions in AI companies like OpenAI, who then use that money to buy Nvidia chips. So it's like, think about it like Ford lending money to car buyers who can only purchase Ford vehicles. So the question is this genuine demand driving a technological revolution, or is it financial engineering inflating a dangerous bubble? In my opinion, I think it's a mixture of the two, but we have to be very cautious here. The thing is that beyond GPUs, though, Nvidia, they're selling complete systems, which include networking, software frameworks, and cloud services. So the integrated approach that they're doing, that creates substantial switching costs for customers. And that explains why these gross margins remain robust despite intense competition. So the thing is here is, I think, yes, we are in a bubble. I think the circular financing or the circular moving around of money is adding to that. How big of a bubble is going to burst? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I've been talking about the bubble for a while. I just think we're in a bubble. It's just not ready to burst. I've talked to, I can't remember which investor it was, but they invest in a lot of AI companies. And I was talking to them a couple of weeks ago, and they were surprised when I said it was a race to the bottom with these AI companies. And, meaning that what was $200 a month is $20 a month. And they're all kind of going after each other's segment. So I need better, powerful CPUs so that my lower priced offering can beat your offering. And it becomes this race to the bottom. And then they're going to eat itself, like things like Cursor and Lovable, and eventually they'll be gone because the big players will just have those tools built in.
And like they already do.
Well, they do to a certain extent. They're just not as good for a bunch of beginners. Circumstances. Yeah, depending on how you approach it. So, they anticipate $3 trillion to $4 trillion in annual AI infrastructure spending by the end of the decade.
Yeah.
This projection suggests a massive investment in AI-related hardware, software, and other services over the coming years. So, I think governments are afraid to lose the AI war. So they're investing massive amounts of infrastructure in this. The companies, the big players are afraid to lose the AI war. The only one who seems not to be afraid to lose the AI war is Apple for some reason. Their stuff they announced, several years ago with Apple AI still not working.
They've lost. They're partnering with
Gemini.
Google.
Gemini, yeah. For 2 years, I think, but they're working on building their stuff in the back end. So we'll see. Eventually, they'll come out with something. We'll see if it eventually strikes home. But if the spend is going 3 to 4 trillion and it's a race, we've got a long way to go before we reach the top. I think we're in a bubble, but based on everything I'm seeing, the bubble is probably 4 to 5 years away from bursting. What do you think, John?
4 to 5 years. That's interesting. So I lost my complete train of thought here when you said that. Oh, no, I didn't get back. So I think, oh yeah, here, and this is how it relates. Sorry about that, guys. My concern is that they're integrated now into governments, or they're going to be integrated into governments. They've got a lot of infrastructure set up. My question is, are they too big to fail now? Are they at that point where they're too big to fail? Are they too integrated, or will they be too integrated for when the bubble bursts that they're going to be bailed out? What do you think?
Well, this is good to hear. Salesforce provides another compelling example of AI's practical benefits. Their engineering team has become 30% more efficient using AI for coding tasks. They say the productivity improvement demonstrates how AI tools are delivering measurable returns on investments across various business functions.
Yeah.
But as you drill into stuff like this, there are huge benefits when you start a coding project. It can build the stuff in the back end, but the more complex the code gets and the more you get into it, the less and less efficient it gets. And the more and more you really need to understand what's going on as a coder to be able to solve and fix problems. So I wonder, we're just at this point where everyone's saying, yeah, we're getting these big benefits, but that's because, your study is only so long. How long does it reverse to say, debugging AI code takes me 30% more work than debugging human code. Therefore, it's going in the other direction. I don't know if it will or not. I'm just saying, I think we get a lot of very positive AI news, but the negative AI news doesn't seem to get the same amount. Well, hype, obviously. The positive AI news is looking for money. The MIT study that says 95% of AI projects stay in pilot mode. They never come out. And there's a bunch of reasons why they fail. Then we hear stuff like this. That's what I mean. I think we hear rosy ends of the spectrum rather than, the true stories that says, okay, we implemented 10 pilot projects. 5 of them we went to production, 5 of them didn't for various reasons, and they're back in whatever. So overall, we're doing this. We get these snippets that say our coders become 30% more efficient. Don't get me wrong. I love AI coding tools. At Flowgrammer, we did last week, we demoed building an app and publishing within 30 minutes, and everyone got to try it right there. It was great. But like I said, as you get more complicated, these things get more complicated. So I think we're a little ways away from really hitting that bubble and hitting the limits and what the shakeout in the industry. And when I say bubble, I mean a bunch of these companies will survive. There really is no going back. But how many of them, right? Do we need all of them?
Well, I think we do, because they kind of each serve their own niche purpose, especially Perplexity. And Anthropic and ChatGPT, unless they can overcome that. And by the way, Anthropic just released Opus 4.5, so we'll have to see how that benchmarks against everything else. But so I feel like these models that can write code, they're like beginner coders right now. And although they're better than beginner coders, but as they get better, I think they will surpass us. And at what point? I don't think that we're going to reach the limits before we achieve like a near perfect coding model, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm just not as optimistic. But I think, at the same time, it's a system. So, when I'm coding, I'm only spin up one coding agent doing stuff. When I see some of my fellow compatriots out there who do more of this, they're spinning up 10, 20, 30 agents to do coding at a time. They're all working with each other, checking each other's code, and they do an amazing job. But, the same person, says they blew through their 50,000 pro credits in about 3 hours. So when you're coding this, so and they have 5 Claude Pro $200 max accounts or whatever to run all this stuff. So, there's a difference in what you need to do it, but eventually that will come down to a point of everybody will have access to that level of complexity. The thing is, the money is not stopping. Like if the spend is ramping up like this, Nvidia is sold out, their pipeline is full, and we know that the US and China and even Canada were building out huge AI data center infrastructures that require all these CPUs. It's not stopping, anytime soon. That's why I say we're 4 to 5 years away from a bubble bursting. And I think the bubble bursting is going to happen when there's just not enough investment anymore. And that's when this stuff shakes out. So great. We got Perplexity. We've got Claude. We've got, OpenAI. We've got Google. We've got whatever Microsoft is doing with their stuff. We've got Cohere. We've got Facebook's models, Meta. So there's a lot. They're Llama models. So there's, again, more and more and more, and they're all spending their models doing these things. That's great. But as a consumer, you go look at the OpenAI models list now is way different than it was a year ago. Live text, OCR, we do this. We have a code, 3 or 4 different coding models. That's what I mean by over time, they're all going to be able to do these things. We say, okay, but this one has a specific niche with search and research. Great. But how long until Google can beat them?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh.
Did you hear that when I said how long till Google could beat them?
Oh, sorry. I didn't hear them. I just hear till Google can beat. I didn't hear them.
You know what I mean by these are Anthropic is a small player. They just can't spend the money that these other companies can, even though they're projecting like $7 billion in revenue this year.
So I think so. I disagree with you. I think if you think about it like this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's more like when you're playing a video game and you choose a character and you build up those characters, all of their so each character is different, inherently different. I think that's how AI is going to be, at least throughout the bubble and when that bubble bursts. And talking about the bubble, I don't think it's going to be as impactful as the .com bubble burst happened. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Okay, so when you say something like that, you're probably talking about the number of companies that go under versus other ones. And I look at it, say it's going to be...
Not just that. I'm talking about the impact on Wall Street too.
I think the impact on Wall Street is going to be 10 times what the .com bubble was, because people are spending trillions of dollars on AI, and there's no way they can all return on those investments. So we're going to see a shakeup. It's just the way it is. Yeah. So, we'll have to wait. There is worry, like you said, about circular funding. Nvidia investing in companies like OpenAI who turn around and buy chips from Nvidia. Critics worry that this artificially inflates the demand. Can big tech really spend $400 billion a year forever without seeing massive profits immediately? So, but can they afford to be behind? So the other thing we kind of want to realize is that even though the numbers were great, the stock price actually dipped slightly 1% after earnings. This shows that investors have priced in perfection. If Nvidia isn't perfect, the market gets jittery.
Let's talk about that for a second. So the guy who predicted the 2008 crisis, Michael Burry, he's shut up. He's closed shop. He's like, there's no way to win in this. Peter Thiel sold $100 million of Nvidia stake. SoftBank liquidated $6 billion in their Nvidia position. And 53% of fund managers believe that AI stocks are already in a bubble, which we talked about, which is fine. But that's fund managers who are in the know too, or at least more in the know than we are.
Yeah. So I think, there are still large plays in the AI industry, but maybe not Nvidia. Nvidia is the bellwether. And the markets say, there are only a few things assured in life: death, taxes, and Nvidia earnings. So if you think that Nvidia earnings are always going to be up, they're always priced in.
Yeah.
So there's no
the
way
thing
for an investor to get money back, is what I mean. It's not going. If it doesn't make it, everything drops. But if it does make it, things still drop.
Yeah. Here's the thing that we haven't even touched on too that could affect this is the Chinese AIs, LLMs.
Yeah. Like DeepSeek, and there's so many Quen, and there's so many. And we have a few here in Toronto, like Cohere. There's Grok, Canadian with the Q. So there's lots of stuff around.
Yeah.
But Nvidia's revenue is up 62.5% year over year, which kind of indicates that it's not going anywhere. So I think the verdict is pretty clear. The money is real. The chips are selling, and AI infrastructure build out is accelerating, not slowing down.
Yeah.
So is this the fourth industrial revolution or just a very expensive experiment? Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll keep watching this story closely.
Yeah.
All right, John, what do you got going on?
Oh, just probably digging out of snow as this is coming out. So, but ramping up for shred season and government funding is with the new fiscal year coming in a few months. So, going to a few events. If you need help with government funding, reach out on LinkedIn, John Irwin, if you have any questions. How about if they need help with anything else related to their startup, Craig? And what are you up to?
Definitely head over to torontostarts.com. We have workshops and events happening there all the time. Everything's there. Sign up for our newsletter to make sure you don't miss anything. There's coaching. There's a podcast. You'll even find Silicon Scoop over there. If you're looking for direct coaching, head over to startupcoach.ca to find how you can book my time, and we can have a discovery call and get you back on the road to doing things, your business growing. We do monthly events at Startup Drinks TO. Again, all of these things are at torontostarts.com if you are interested. And for business AI and automation, head over to flowgrammar.ca, where we help businesses achieve faster lead response time, speed to lead, among other things. We have different packages. So go check that out. If you're looking to implement AI in your business and don't know where to start, go over to flowgrammar.ca and book a discovery call. And for everything else, flowgrammars.ca is our community hub. That's our Toronto Builders Hub. There's free workflows. There's our builder events. There's a bunch of stuff over there, a bunch of free tools. And demos on how to use them and build them. So go check that out all over there. And John, if they're looking for government funding, where do they go?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, John Irwin. You can book right through that link, right through LinkedIn. So come find me.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.